Deep in the tangled shadows of a remote rainforest, a jaguar prowls with a grotesque secret etched into its flesh, a wound festering with parasites. At first glance, the majestic feline, a symbol of raw power and stealth, is a prey to an invisible army, an infestation so repugnant and relentless that it turns the hunter itself into a parasitic battlefield. The wound, a gaping sore pulsating with dark, pus-filled pockets, is home to tiny creatures that feed on the flesh and blood of this apex predator. These parasites, unseen yet merciless, thrive in the moist, nutrient-rich environment created by the injury, their presence a horrid testament to nature's less glamorous realities. The parasites embedded in the jaguar's tissue are not random hitchhikers, but specialized bloodsuckers, often botflies, or various types of mites that burrow beneath the skin. These larvae chew through healthy tissue, growing and writhing within the jaguar's body, causing inflammation, pain, and exposing the wound to secondary infections. The beast's once sleek fur is matted with dry blood and oozing fluids, the stench a pungent blend of decay and infection. Each movement of the jaguar aggravates the wound further, as if its own vitality were a feast for these unwelcome guests. This macabre relationship between predator and parasite is a raw facet of life everywhere on Earth, a grim dance of survival and decay. Parasites depend on hosts for their survival, often without delivering any benefit, tipping the scales towards suffering and disease. While the jaguar's strength and hunting skills make it an apex predator, it is helpless against these microscopic invaders that take residence within, silently undermining its health and vigor. To understand the depth of this infestation, one must consider the life cycle of these parasites. Female botflies, for example, lay eggs on the jaguar's fur or near wounds. When the larvae hatch, they quickly burrow under the skin, feeding on the host tissue and fluids for nourishment. The host experiences itching, swelling, and pain as immune cells rush to the site, creating a scene of biological warfare that in the wild, where survival is a brutal contest of strength and adaptability, there exists a white lion, a ghostly figure in the savannah, marked not just by its rare pale coat, but by an alarming and grotesque affliction, a barnacle-like wound festering on its flank. This is no mere scratch or scar, it is a living scar, a gruesome testament to the harrowing reality of parasite infestation. From a distance, the lion might evoke awe, its ethereal presence almost otherworldly, but up close, the truth is disturbingly clear. This is not an animal untouched by nature's cruelty, but one deeply enmeshed in a dark parasitic dance that reveals the raw underbelly of life itself. The wound, thick and crusted with layers of calcified parasitic growths, resembles barnacles clinging to the weathered hull of a forgotten ship, feeding mercilessly on the host beneath. The skin around it is inflamed, raw, and peeling, a vivid canvas of decay painted in tones of sickly yellow and dark crimson. The parasites have burrowed deep, turning what should be a proud muscle into a festering nest of hunger. These tiny invaders, invisible to the naked eye initially, reveal themselves in clusters as the crust breaks apart, a pestilent colony thriving at the expense of the regal predator's health. The sight is a grotesque paradox. A creature created to be the apex of power is simultaneously the unwilling sanctuary for a debilitating infestation. Parasites are nature's forgotten puppeteers, manipulating their hosts from within. On this white lion, the parasite infestation is a complex symphony of biological horror. Mites, ticks, and larval insects set up shop beneath the skin, their tiny legs anchoring deep into the flesh as they siphon nutrients, weakening the lion's body and dulling its natural defenses. The infestation triggers an immune response, a relentless biological war on the cellular level. The lion's body fights, sending white blood cells to the battleground. But these invaders have evolved perfectly to exploit both the immunity and the vulnerabilities of their host. As the parasites feast, the lion's strength wanes, its movements sluggish, its keen senses dulled by pain and infection. The parasitic invasion is not merely a physical torment, but a biological subversion. Beneath the pale sheen of a white coat lies a grim spectacle seldom witnessed yet impossible to ignore. A horse marred by an unnatural affliction, its beauty grotesquely violated by a grotesque hive pulsating with sinister life. This is no ordinary injury, for where flesh once gleamed, now thrums an unbearable hive, a buzzing nightmare constructed by one of nature's deadliest architects, the bee. Imagine a nightmare painted in the stark contrast of alabaster and amber, a living horror where thousands of tiny bodies cluster, swarming over raw, festering wounds, their relentless activity seeping into the very flesh of the magnificent steed. The air hums with the whispered menace of stings, a symphony of pain and persistence, as these insects exploit the vulnerable canvas of inflamed tissue and bloodied skin. It's a morbid coexistence where biology turns cruelly alchemical, the horses wound a banquet, and prison for the buzzing invaders. The infestation is not mere chance, but a chilling testament to opportunistic survival. Bees, nature's microscopic engineers and pollinators, here transformed into tormentors, have in the dense shadows of the African twilight, a figure lumbers silently through the underbrush. A leopard, its once majestic coat now marred by a grotesque spectacle that arrests the eye and torments the mind. This is no ordinary wound, no simple scar born of battle or misfortune. Instead, it is a pulsating, oozing nightmare, a vast hive of parasitic cocoons festering in a gruesome living mat beneath the animal's skin. As the twilight deepens, the grotesque hive seems almost to throb with a life of its own, an eerie alien presence grafted onto the proud form of the leopard. A silent sentinel turned unwitting host to this macabre infestation. Peering closer, the horror reveals itself in sickening detail, each cocoon a small, translucent sac, swelling and shifting as the larvae inside writhe, feed, and grow. This parasitic cocoon infestation is a cruel natural phenomenon where certain fly species, lurking in the shadowy wilderness, deposit their eggs on or beneath the skin of unsuspecting hosts. Upon hatching, the larvae burrow into the flesh, setting up a biological empire. The caterpillar-like creatures subsist on the leopard's tissues, a sinister form of vampirism, feeding not on blood but on vital muscle and fat, creeping ever deeper. The skin around the hive is broken and weeping, raw wounds leaking serous fluids clinging to coils of stringy membranes that glisten with an abhorrent wet sheen, while the leopard, despite agonizing pain, moves with an eerie perseverance. This infestation triggers a cascade of suffering. The leopard's immune system is overwhelmed, its body a battlefield where invading parasites manipulate its own defenses against it, provoking inflammation and tissue decay. The hive acts as both fortress and nursery, an abomination wrapped in the flesh of the innocent predator, a vile marriage between host and parasite that blurs the line between biological necessity and grotesque horror. The larvae seem almost surgical. In the shadowed corners of a forgotten jungle, where sunlight struggles through the thick canopy, lies a disturbing spectacle of nature's relentless cycle, an ailing monkey, its fur matted with decay, revealing a grotesque hive of parasites pulsating beneath its skin. This is no ordinary wound. It is a festering colony, a dark symbiosis of insect life that turns the monkey's flesh into a breeding ground for countless larvae. The sight is both revolting and mesmerizing, a sick testament to survival etched in the animal's very body. The infestation begins unnoticed. Tiny eggs laid by female parasites, nestled beneath the monkey's fur, silently dividing and hatching. These larvae burrow into the flesh, carving intricate tunnels that feed on living tissue, their microscopic movements triggering waves of inflammation. The wound swells, a grotesque landscape of pus, blood, and writhing bodies, each parasite thriving at the expense of their unwilling host. The immune system rallies but struggles, overwhelmed by beneath the dense canopy of the jungle, where shadows merge and the cries of unseen creatures echo. There exists a scene that defies nature's usual balance of predator and prey. A male leopard, once a symbol of grace and raw power, now lies ensnared in a grotesque tableau of parasitic invasion. His tawny fur, a mottled canvas of tawny gold and onyx spots, is marred by a swollen, bubbling mass that clings like an alien monument to agony. This horrid cocoon, swelling grotesquely along his flank, seems almost sentient, pulsing with life that is not his own. What appears at first glance as a tumor reveals itself upon closer inspection as the result of a sinister infestation. The leopard is host to a ceaseless army of parasitic larvae, their writhing bodies concealed within the crusted, necrotic exoskeleton of their cocoon stronghold. At the core of this living nightmare lies the tale of a parasitic organism known to the untrained eye only as a vile intruder, but understood by scientists as an evolutionary marvel with a hellish life cycle. These parasites, typically flies in their adult form, have a reproductive strategy as brutal as it is fascinating. The adult fly deposits its eggs on the skin or in the wounds of mammals, here choosing the leopard as an unwitting incubator. Upon hatching, the larvae burrow deeper into the flesh, consuming tissue and bodily fluids as they grow and undergo successive molts. The host, beleaguered and weakened, experiences an excruciating onslaught as the larvae secrete enzymes to liquefy the tissue, creating a nutrient-rich broth for their development. In response to this biological assault, the leopard's body reacts, attempting to encapsulate the infestation within a hardened, necrotic shell, the cocoon, which becomes a grim fortress, sealing the larvae in place until they reach the final stage of their life cycle. Inside this macabre citadel of skin and pus, the larvae continue their development. The cocoon's twisted, crusted appearance is due to the accumulation